and this is episode 43 of the Lifestyle Entrepreneur Podcast. And my next guest is Rich German, where we're going to be talking about 5 simple steps to attracting and getting joint venture partners, even if you're a brand new person in business. You do not want to miss this one. It's the number one way that I was able to take my business to multiple 6 figures and being able to leverage my expertise, but also being able to attract partners that had loyal followings that wanted to share my products and services. And Rich is going to share with you 5 simple steps to make that a reality for you as well. Welcome to the Lifestyle Entrepreneur Podcast. I'm your host, Chris Gilbertson, and I'm an author, speaker, and a coach to teaching you how to launch your own successful podcast. And the reason I designed this show is to bring you the top lifestyle entrepreneur experts from all over the world for them to share their key strategies that they've used to launch their own businesses and allow them to live life on their own terms. So tune in every Friday for new episodes and come on over and join the Lifestyle Entrepreneur community at www.lifestyleacademy.com. There you're going to receive VIP training from specific guests from the podcast, along with being able to watch all of the interviews. And I'll also be making it really easy for you to implement these strategies that you're hearing by sending you what I like to call the Lifestyle Cliff Notes on the best lessons learned on the podcast. So let's get started. All right, so before we get started with the show, I just want to thank everyone who is subscribing and leaving awesome reviews in iTunes. I'm so excited that people are enjoying these interviews. And I'm excited to announce First Fridays. So what I'm going to be doing the first Friday of every month, we're going to have a raffle for those of you that have subscribed to the podcast and then also left a review. And it'll be a raffle for $25 gift cards from iTunes, Amazon, eBay, all over the place. So all you simply need to do is just subscribe to the podcast in iTunes and then leave us a review, and your name will go in a hat, and we'll announce that the first Friday of every month. And this month's First Friday raffle winner goes out to Frank C. And they say, Chris, motivate and energetic and inspirational. Love the way she guides people to feel and do better. Been listening to Chris's incredible podcast. She nails it every time. Great podcast for what's working now in marketing. Keep up the great work, avid listener. Well, thank you so much, Frank, and so excited to have you as a loyal listener. So just tweet me or email me over at chris@lifestyleacademy.com to get your free gift card, and let me know if you want an Amazon, iTunes, Visa card, just let me know. And then also, if you haven't left a review yet, simply click at iTunes, click subscribe, leave your star ranking, and then a simple review, and then your name goes into a raffle. So every first Friday of the month, I pull a name and you get a gift card to your choice. And then also, whenever you leave your review, if you can leave your Twitter name as well, we'll make sure our team tweets out to you as well to make it really easy to connect. So let's get into today's episode, and you want to make sure you take great notes because these simple steps are so effective and proven over and over again. So I know that you can take this training today and actually go implement it and start to get immediate results. So can't wait to hear what your thoughts are on this episode as well. So tweet me at Chris Gilbertson, and let's get into today's show. Well, welcome back, everyone. I am so excited and honored today to be bringing on Rich German, who is a best-selling author, speaker, and business life coach. And since 1999, he has conducted over 18,000 individual coaching sessions. And along with that, his last book, Monetize Your Passion, teaches people how to turn their greatest passion into financial freedom, and sold over 40,000 copies that are all circulated all over the world right now. And so he's also the co-creator of the JV Inside Circle with Milena Lishinsky, the world's first community that supports coaches, authors, and speakers in building their business via joint venture partnerships. And he lives in beautiful Laguna Beach, California. I don't know if you can see in the background there. He's like a footstep away from the ocean. And I'm really excited to have Rich join us today because this is the number one way I've been able to build my business. And we're going to dive in deep to show you how to start to be able to use this strategy effectively and the right way for your business. So Rich, welcome. I'm so excited to have you today. How are you doing?
I'm awesome, Chris. It's a pleasure to be here. Thank you.
Yeah, excellent. Well, I would love to just dive right in and have you, share your story of how you got started. And I mean, you've coached over 18,000 people. I mean, that's a significant number. And I'd love to know how you got started and how you really created your expertise and are living your passion now through what you do.
I love it. So first of all, thank you for having me here. I'm excited to spend some time with you and your audience. So yeah, I became a coach back in 1999. I always kind of joke that I became a coach before coaching was cool. And what happened was I was 20, let's see, when I was 25 years old, in the mid 90s. Now everyone's gonna know how old I am. I hired a business coach. I was selling real estate at the time back in Florida. I'm in California now, but I was living in Florida. And I hired a coach. And the reason I hired a coach was I didn't really like what I was doing. I was good at selling real estate, but I didn't really like the business itself. So I figured, well, this guy's a coach. I'll hire a coach, and maybe I would start to like the business. And what happened was I never really liked the business, even after being coached, but I really liked this whole coaching thing. And that at that time, if somebody had a coach, it's because they were an athlete playing on a team. It wasn't normal in the late 90s, mid to late 90s, to have a business coach. And so I really got turned on to the whole idea of coaching from a personal development side, from a business side, just from an overall life side. And what happened was I got close in with that coach, and then by the late 90s, his business really was growing, and he needed coaches. He had all these people that wanted to be coached, and he needed coaches. And he came to me because I knew his system and said, hey, do you want to be a coach? I was 29 years old. I didn't know much about much at the time, but I was like, it was a total ego thing then. I'm like, oh, yeah, I'll be a coach. That sounds really cool. So I became a coach, and after a few years of doing that, I was part-time as a coach, and I was still full-time selling real estate. I realized that my passion really lied in coaching people. I really got to a point, Chris, where I enjoyed coaching other people and watching them have success almost more than me having success on my own. So in 99, I became a coach. About 4 years into that, I made a major life decision, and that was I completely stopped selling real estate, and I became a full-time coach. So since 2003, I've been a coach full-time. As you said, I've done over 18,000 coaching calls. And I always joke that I don't want to ever be introduced as a guy that's done 36,000 coaching calls. I actually do a lot less coaching now. So fast forward, I started coaching full-time in 2003. And then in 2008, 5 years ago or so, I made another major decision, and that was to quit. I was always coaching for another company. There was 2 companies over the years. They're friends, and I really helped them build their company, but I was always like the number 2 guy. And then finally one day I made a decision. I don't want to be the number 2 guy anymore, and I took a leap, and I started my own company in 2008. And what happened was it was a whole different model. I said, I don't want to do the speaker circuit, and I don't want to be traveling, because this is what I watched these guys that I work with. They were on the road like 230 days a year. They were never home. And I like being here on the beach. I don't really like, I was joking. I had to go put a shirt on, put a collar and long sleeves on to look good for this interview. But normally I'm in my board shorts and a t-shirt. I'm working from home on the phone, on my computer. And because for me, it's all about lifestyle. And I just saw too many people in the speaking and coaching realm that they didn't have the lifestyle, at least that I wanted. And I said, I'm going to do this differently, and I'm going to really use the online model. The problem was I didn't know the online model at all. I'm not a tech person at all. I wasn't then. I really am not now. And I just kind of figured out how to build my business through what we're going to talk about here, and that is joint ventures. So there's a little backstory on me, and we can lead more into how I really built it up. I just want to share that for anyone that maybe didn't know.
Yeah, no, I think it's so brilliant. And it's so funny, Rich, because my background was real estate, and I got into coaching and was kind of like the 1 foot in, 1 foot out for so long too. And I just was like, oh, I don't want to leave what I already know, but I need to. And so I'd love for you, we're definitely going to dive into the joint venture, because I'm right on board with you on that's one of the best ways to build a business. But I want you to talk about, because I get a lot of questions from listeners that are, how do I really position myself as the expert and really launch, like really leave that stuff behind and move forward? Because there's a time when you still need to keep that, but then there's a time when it's time to actually really put both feet in the sandbox and start to play. So I'd love for you to kind of share how people can start to make that transition and what to do there.
So you're talking about a transition maybe away from something else into their passion?
Exactly.
So I'll tell you a couple things. So my last book, as you mentioned, is called Monetize Your Passion. And that book was born out of a couple things. One, it was an epiphany that I had in the shower years ago. I was standing in the shower one morning. I realized all my epiphanies come in one of two places, either in the ocean or in the shower, something water related, or while just sitting in meditation. And one day I was in the shower and I just had this weird thought that came into my head. And the thought was, you're the luckiest guy alive. You're the luckiest guy in the world. And I was like, and it literally just came to me and I was like, what does that even mean? And it hit me that I get to do what I love for a living. Doing what I love affords me a wonderful lifestyle. And doing what I love makes a sincere difference in the lives of other people. And hence, I was the luckiest guy in the world. And I said, oh my God, I am. And I can help other people to be the luckiest guys or gals in the world also. So I said, I'm going to write a book on how to make money. What happened was I right around that same time, I surveyed my audience. My business was, I don't know, not even that old at that time, a couple of years. I was still really growing it. And this was right as the economy was still really bad and kind of falling apart and people were freaked out. And when I put myself out there initially, I was kind of like a happiness coach. At the end of the day, I just want people to be happy. I don't really care how much money you make. I don't care what you do. As long as you're happy, then that's good. That's why we're here. I think in a large for a large reason, that's part of our purpose of our life is to be happy. So I was like this happiness guy. So I sent out a survey to my audience and I said, hey, what do you want coaching on? Logical concept, right? And I would get responses like this. I'm going to swear for just a little swear. I literally had an email that said, hey, Rich, we love all that happiness shit, but we can't pay our bills. Coach us on money. Coach us on how to make money. So I said, I can do that. But I said, if I'm going to coach people on money, I'm going to do it my way, which is do it based on work that you love. So that's what led to my last book, Monetize Your Passion, where I teach you to not only figure out what your greatest passion is, but turn it into a business so that it is funding the lifestyle of your dreams. You're doing what you love all day long. It's making you money. You balance your life so you have time to do all the things that really, really matter. So that was Monetize Your Passion. The problem with Monetize Your Passion was that it was very broad. I was basically saying, hey, I don't care what your passion is, I'm going to help you turn it into a business. And it was successful, but it wasn't nearly as successful as it could be. And this is really good, I think, for people listening, because I think we put ourselves out there and we want to be all things to all people. We want to be everything to everybody. And it does not, in a very few cases, like an Oprah or a Tony Robbins, hey, I can pull it off. But to those of you listening that are just putting yourself out there as a coach, as an author, as a speaker, the failure, not the failure, but where it didn't work for me was I was too broad. And we've all heard this a million times, right? You got to go narrow and deep in your niche. And I had to go through the same process. I think everybody does. So I said, monetize any passion is too broad. So one day I had to look in the mirror and say, okay, what is it that I truly love to do? Who are the people that I truly love to work with? And it just hit me like the blinding flash of the obvious. I love to work with coaches. I love to work with the people, hopefully a lot of the people listening right now, who are the ones out there working with the people, out there making a difference. And it just, because for years in my business, I was the coach's coach. And I said, I'm just going to go back to coaching coaches. And I got really specific. So I niched it down from everything in the world to basically coaches, authors, and speakers. And that wasn't enough, by the way. So that was still a little too broad. And I niched it down even more. And I said, okay, what is it within this world that we're all living in of coaches, authors, speakers, experts, thought leaders? What is it that I'm really good at? And you mentioned my partner, Milana Lashinsky. So a little over a year ago, we were introduced. We had a phone conversation. And we basically were just talking about our businesses and what we had done to grow them. And like you said at the beginning, I said, hey, I've grown my business through joint ventures. I said, I've built up a really large audience and 95% of it's through joint ventures. I don't know anything. I'm not a tech guy. I don't understand SEO. I don't understand pay-per-click. Anything technology-wise, I kind of like run away from. What I do know how to do is create relationships with people, form joint venture partnerships, and I built my business that way. And she said, oh my God, I've done the same exact thing. And somehow in that conversation, it kind of led to, hey, we're at a kind of a high level and we've got a big audience, and it's not that hard, quite honestly, for me to form joint ventures. I can pretty much reach out to anyone in the world, got the credibility, I've got an audience, and it's not that hard for me to do it. And what we were saying was, what about the people that are either just getting started or they've been at this for a while and they just haven't quite figured out how to build that audience? Because for anyone listening, I would never question your ability to coach. I would never question your ability to write, to speak. You have a passion, you have a gift, and the challenge for most of you is just putting it out there and getting the world to hear about it. So it's not that you're not great at what you do. It's really a marketing issue. It's your ability to find an audience. And joint venturing is just like, to me, the fastest, least expensive way to get in front of your target market. And so what Milan and I said was, what if we could create a program for the newer people, for the people that have a list of 0 to say 5,000 people? Once you get over that certain threshold, it becomes a lot easier. And it just boom, it just happened. Like, we knew we had something great. And together we created what you mentioned at the beginning, the JV Insider Circle, which is a community where we train coaches, authors, and speakers to be world-class joint venture partners. And we help them to form partnerships. Number one, they all partner with each other in the community. Plus, we give them the tools and the confidence to go out to anyone in the world and potentially form a partnership. So it's great. So my point is, I started super broad, cut it in. Now it's just like, I'm the JV guy. Makes life very simple, and it really makes a big impact for other people. So
yeah, and I'm so grateful that you shared that, because a lot of people just preach they figured it out right away. They knew who their person was, and it's all been great. And it really is an evolution. It's a journey that we're all on, and to enjoy it, embrace it, and to know. And it is scary sometimes for people that have to niche in, but it actually truly is the most incredible thing that happens for your business. So thank you for sharing that. And I want to dive into now the JV side of it, because this truly, I experience this because I'm just like you. I'm not a techie person, even though I teach tech stuff. It's not overcomplicated, but to get things set up where a lot of the launch platforms and a lot of the pay-per-click, it's overwhelming, it's frustrating. And as a business owner, you're wearing a lot of hats in the beginning. So I love the simplicity and how quickly, just like what you said, you can build a list, a following, and get customers in your business right away. So what I want to do, I know this sounds rudimentary, but first just explain what a joint venture is. And then I want to go into kind of the mistakes and a little bit more of how to kind of open that door up.
I love it. You can ask anything, and there's no, what do they say? There's no stupid questions, just stupid people, right? So a joint venture, no, it's a great place to start, because some people might not know exactly what we mean. Oh, I'm totally kidding, by the way. I make a lot of jokes. So a joint venture is basically when you partner with another person with the goal of making a profit, of building your audience, and obviously delivering a great service and benefit to everybody that is involved. So the simplest way to look at a joint venture is, let's say you have a program that you want to put out there to the world, and then what you want to look at is, all right, who is already talking to the audience that I want to be talking to? You partner with that person. We can go into how, the logistics of that, but you would partner with that person, meaning they would promote you to their audience, and all of a sudden, you're talking to that audience and have the ability to provide great content and then ultimately sell them your program. So you build your audience, because they have to opt in to hear your free content in whatever format you offer that to them. So now you're building your list and have now this audience that you can promote your stuff to, so you can actually make some money.
Yeah. And I love to explain, because, we've all read Think and Grow Rich, OPM, Other People's Money, and especially from real estate too. That was a big thing we talked about. And I love joint ventures because I call it OPP, Other People's People. And I mean that in the best way possible, because when someone brings you onto their list, you have instant expert status, you have credibility, but more importantly, you have the trust already built in. So you really, once you nail down your conversions, you really can, instantaneously monetize your business.
Let's talk about that for a second, because I know there's someone listening thinking, well, why in the world would somebody else want to bring me into their community? Aren't I competition? And I got to tell you, I thought the same thing when I started my company back in 2008. And it blew me away, because in my background, you and I, Chris, need to talk on the side about our real estate backgrounds. But I came from a background, it just happened to be in the real estate world, that was highly competitive, No, they did not want to share. Like, don't tell them what we're doing. God forbid, should we collaborate on something? It was very old school, us against them, highly competitive. Let's hide our little secrets. God forbid anybody know what we're doing. And that never felt right to me. I just was like, I'm just like, here, here's who I am. Here's what I do. What do we, not this competition thing didn't make sense for me. And then when I started my own business and got into this online game, it blew me away how people were like, hey, what are you all about? What are you doing? How can I support you? In fact, if you get anything from this call, everybody listening, it's what I just said. How can I support you? I have built a large business, a 7-figure business based on that one question. How can I support you? If you go out to the world and you start connecting with people that you would want to partner with, you don't lead with, hey, I've got this great program. Come support me. Come support me. Here's what it's all about. And I'm the best thing since sliced bread. No, you do the opposite. Hey, I really admire you and what you do. I've been watching you. I've been following you for years now. I would love to support you. How can I support you? That is the way you create relationships, because everybody wants support. Anytime somebody comes to me and they say, how can I support you? I'm going to engage in a conversation, because everybody wants more support, more exposure. And just my point is, it just blew me away how open everybody. There's you go reach out to 100 people. There's going to be a couple that maybe have that old school competitive way of being. But for the most part, everyone that does what we do, and you and I included, Chris, we're coming from a place of abundance, not scarcity, mostly from a place of love versus fear, and it's about collaboration. I said recently that competition is dead, and that collaboration is the new competition. We need each other. We can't do this on our own. We need each other, and that goes back to what I said. If you're just all things to all people, even all things to all people within a niche, it's harder to have that JV conversation. But if I go to anyone that supports coaches and authors and speakers, and I'm coming from a place of, hey, my niche is a niche within the niche, just my focus is on JVs, and they're like, oh my God, I don't really teach that. My audience needs that. It's like,
yeah. And the other thing, which was a big wake-up call, because exactly the same thing I experienced in real estate. It was very cliquey, tight-knit, don't share anything, keep it black book, And what was great about here is that people have different business models. Like you consider yourself lifestyle, business style. And what's great about that is not everybody wants to create their own products. They want to grow a list. Maybe they want to do it with their blog. And then they want to bring your product in that you've put the time into with your expertise. You're the expert on, and they want to showcase you and share that. And then they still get profit from what they've built, and then you get a win-win. So that's what I love about this, is it's win-win-win. So let's talk about the wrong way, because you did touch on that, to really be about service first. But, there are mistakes that happen in this world. So I want you to touch on maybe the top 3 mistakes that people make when they're going to obtain or try to open the door up for joint ventures.
I love it. I love the fact that we hadn't planned any questions. I told you I want a free-flowing.
I love it too. It's the best.
It's coming to me for the first time. So now my brain's going mistakes. I think the first mistake that we make, so let's say you're going to reach out to a potential partner. The first mistake you can make is sending them a really long email. I get a million emails, not a million, but a lot of emails, and I have a short attention span, or it's more just there's so many hours in the day. And the truth is, I want to be down on that beach or out on the water as much as I'm sitting here at my desk, so I don't sit and read emails all day long. If I get an email from someone and it's like a Bible, it's a
downer.
It's a downer. I'll just leave it in my inbox, and there's a good chance I'll never get to it. So don't send people long, long emails, number one. Number two, I kind of said it before, don't make it about you. Don't take this the wrong way, but nobody really cares about you. If you're approaching a stranger, it's like any relationship. What do people care about? They kind of care about themselves. And if you want to create a relationship, come from that place, as I said, of how can I support you? So as you reach out to people, and I'm happy to kind of walk through my little simple formula of how I've created joint ventures. When you reach out to people, short emails, basically saying, hey, Chris, I saw your blog and I think it's awesome. Oh my gosh, I read your book when it came out. I think you're amazing. Butter them up a little bit, how you know them and how you admire them. And I just want to see, how can I support you? What are you up to? What are you excited about in this new year? How can I support you? It's hard to not respond to that. And there's nothing in there about me. I might put, oh, by the way, I happen to do this one line just so they know there's some relativity there of why we should be communicating. But a short, sweet email and send. No long biography and stuff on how great you are. The last thing you want to do is talk about your program that you want them to promote it. That's the fastest way to get it deleted. So short email, make it about them. I know you asked for 3, but those are the first 2 that came to mind.
Yeah, no, that's perfect. Because it really is. I mean, and it's not even, you may have something really great in that long email, but it just condensed, paragraph short, because it's a time value that people have, and it just gets pushed off to the side. And it's all about them. Because once you open that door up, it can blossom, but you have to have, it's a gatekeeper. Email is a gatekeeper today. So you have to know how to get through that door and be able to do that. So I'd love for you to share your process if you want to break that down, or just a few tips to help people see how they can do that.
Yeah, I think 2 things. I'll give you the process, but before you can even begin the process, I think everybody has to be what I call JV ready. So you might be listening now and say, well, that process sounds great, but I don't feel ready to contact someone. So let's go through how to get JV ready, and then I'll give you the simple process. And what's cool is, like I said, I'm not a tech guy. I definitely have support. I have people that help me with the tech stuff. You need that. But everything, I try to really share simple things so that you're not overwhelmed, so you can be like, oh, I could actually do that. So first thing, you've got to be JV ready. How are you JV ready? Number 1, I think, and hopefully you're taking notes. Not you, everybody. You might want to take notes too.
We'll have all the show notes for sure, because this is good stuff. I'm so excited for this.
So to be JV ready, number 1, you have to have, I believe, a signature program. You have to have something to talk about to a potential partner. If you call up another coach or author or speaker and just say, hey, I'm a coach, and they're going to say, great, I'm a coach too, and so is my mother and everyone that I know, there's not much to talk about. So number 1, you want to have a signature program. Like I have my JV Insider program, helps people become world-class joint venture partners, and I put them in a community where they can partner with each other. That is a signature program. So number 1, what is your signature program? Number 2, I think you need a free training. So as partners promote you, they're not sending people to a sales page saying, hey, my friend Chris has this thing, buy it. Doesn't work that way. No, you have to offer something free of value. There's a lot of different free things that you can offer. I like a free training, like a free webinar or a teleseminar, where I can spend an hour, 90 minutes with people and just give them, like I'm doing here, all this free information, free content, and really build a relationship that way. So I think number 2, you need free training. The third thing you need is emails. So I've got this free training, and you're going to promote me, let's say. I need to write emails that you're going to send to your audience to drive people to the free training. So you need good email copy. Number 4 is you need a really good opt-in page, or a registration page, a squeeze page, whatever you want to call it, but a page where people go, hear about your free training, and say, oh, that looks good, and they enter their name and their email, so now they opted into your list. So you need an opt-in page. And then lastly, you just need your tracking system. You need an affiliate tracking system behind the scenes that's handling all this stuff where it's all automated. So let me repeat real quick. You've got your signature program. You've got a free training. You've got emails to send people. You have an opt-in page, and then you have your tracking system. You've got all that in place. Now you are what I call JV ready, and then you're ready to go find and connect with potential partners. So I can talk about my process for finding partners. I don't know if you have any questions first on what
the only thing I want to talk about on that, because I love how simple you make it. And it really is that simple, just to have those 5 pieces in place. The only thing I want you to touch on is what makes a great signature product in your mind, because that's where a lot of people hold themselves back. And I think you can make that very simple as well. So I'd love to get your take on that.
So I think it boils down to immediately 2 things came to mind. One is you have a really good program that people need. You have a program that creates a very specific result for people. Again, you're not trying to be all things to all people and heal their health and their spiritual life and their relationships and their money problems and all this in one fell swoop. It doesn't, I don't go that approach. One specific thing. Go through my program and you will, bam, have this specific result. So at the end of the day, that's the most important thing, is having a great program that actually works. There's a lot of crap out there in the world. Don't be one of those people. Have something that actually provides a result, and that will spread fast. So number one, start there. The problem is too many coaches, authors, and speakers spend 90% of their time working on their book and their program and changing this word and that word, and they spend all their time there, and they don't get to the second thing that came to mind, which is the marketing side. Number one, you need a great program. Number two, you got to come up with a great offer. We've all heard the term have an irresistible offer. You really need to know how to do that, and that's where most people fall short. Quite honestly, I always joke with Milana, my partner, one of the main reasons I wanted to partner with her is she is a brilliant marketer. She knows how to come up with a great offer. So if you were to look, I won't go into the details now, but if you look at what we offer in our JV Insider Circle, we were very strategic in terms of what was the program itself. And then we threw in all these bonuses and live event and all these things. And we spent like a month massaging this thing and moving around. All of a sudden it just hit us. Here's our offer. And it converts like crazy. One, because it works. It provides that result, like I said. And two, we really know how to position and market ourselves. And we spend way more time on the marketing side than we do on the content side. And we have really good content, don't get me wrong. But if you don't know how to market yourself, you could have the greatest program in the world and no one's going to know about it.
Exactly. Yeah, no, that's brilliant. I love it. I have nothing else to say. I just want you to dive into your steps because I think this is so phenomenal.
So here's my steps are so simple too. So let's think about this. 4 steps. So step number 1, this is how to get joint venture partners. Step 1 is to create a wish list of the people that you would want to partner with. And your wish list, I want you to include the big whales, the biggest people on the planet, the dream partner that you would love to have promote you. And then I want you to have the little small fish and everything in between. And when I say create a wish list, I literally mean like 100 to 200 or more people. Not here's my top 12, I'm just going to go after them. It's a huge wish list of people that you would want to promote with, from the big players to the small players and everything in between. And remember, at the beginning, it's really hard to land the big whale. So what I suggest is go after the little fish, little fish, little fish. Start small, then you build up to a little bit bigger level, a little bit bigger, and then the next thing you know, you're sitting at the big boy table. That takes time, but less time than you would think. And when I started my business 5 years ago, I had a list of 0, and now we're like at 80,000 people. And that all happened, first year I got to like 10,000, then I got to 20, and it takes time, but not that much time, quite honestly. So it happens pretty quick. So you create your wish list, number 1. Number 2 is you want to start reaching out to the people on your wish list. And I have a rule that I call the 5-1 rule. And the 5-1 rule is that every day you're going to reach out to 5 people. I'll get to the 1 in a moment. But step 2 is you email people. It's 5 people a day. Get their email address, find them on Facebook, go on their website, and find, it's not hard to get a hold of people. So you send 5 emails a day, short little emails. In my program, I give you literally, here's what to say exactly. But for our purposes today, short email, making it about them. Coming from a place of, I want to support you. Let's create a mutually beneficial relationship. Not a long email talking about you and how great you are and why they work with you. That's the fastest way to get deleted. So you email 5 people a day. That's step number 2. Step 3 is you want to have 1 phone conversation a day. The idea is if you reach out to 5 people, they're not all going to respond. But if you do this consistently, you'll get 1 to respond who will say, hey, Chris, that sounds cool. Let's talk. So every day the goal is to have 1 phone conversation. And that phone conversation is really about one thing, and that is getting to know someone. In fact, let's say Chris and we had never spoken before, and I said, hey, we seem to be doing the same kind of work. Let's get on the phone and see how we can support each other. I would get on the phone with you, and I would basically say, hey, Chris, in these conversations, it's really about building a relationship. I'd love to know a little bit about you and your background. And then I'd love for you to share what it is that you're working on. What are you excited about in this new year or whatever? And I make it all about you. And then you're going to start telling me a little bit about your background. Next thing you know, oh, you were in real estate. I was in real, we're talking about our backgrounds, and we're really creating a connection. Then you're going to tell me what you do in your business and where you need support. And then guess what you're going to do after you're done sharing? What are you going to do?
Same thing. We're going to connect and just open the door up. I love it. It's so much fun.
Come right back to me and say, what are you working on? I make it all about you, and for sure it's going to come back to me. So the idea is you want to get on the phone and have these conversations. And then the fourth step is really just falls naturally after number 3, and that is you're going to form partnerships. Oh my God, this is what you do. My community needs that. I'd love to do an interview like we're doing now, or I'm going to promote you, or whatever it is, and just things happen. The bottom line is, unless you put yourself out there, nothing's going to happen. And the beauty of the community that Milana and I created is that we have hundreds of people in our community. So it's not a cold call. People in our community that reach out to each other, they're like, hey, I'm in the JV Insider Circle just like you. It's an instant rapport. Let's get on the phone and see how we can support each other. And it's like, we're trying to figure out, how do we take the rejection out of the process? And it just was like, let's just create a community, and it's worked amazingly. So that's the process. Very simple.
And it's such an incredible community too, that I love about that, of being able to have other people that are in the same realm as you doing what you're doing, so you can collaborate on ideas, get feedback on your pitches and how you're connecting, because there is a learning curve to this, and there is a right way to do it, and there is a lot of rejection, but at the same time you're still going to be getting yeses all the time too, as long as you stay consistent and keep growing it. So I think it's brilliant. Keep going if you had anything.
Just gonna say, there's definitely a numbers game component to it. Like, we took a lot of the rejection out, but let's say people listening, let's say you didn't work with me and you were just kind of doing this on your own. Bad idea, by the way. No, just kidding. Well, let's say you're doing it on your own. I'm not saying reach out to 5 people and have 5 conversations. I'm saying you reach out to 5. If 1 responds, so now you have 1 person to talk to a day. If you did that for an entire month, Monday through Friday, 4 weeks, that's 20 conversations. If out of that, let's say 2 of the 20, you just really hit it off and you decided to do some kind of partnership, you got 2 JV partners. You do that every month. I mean, you and I both know, Chris, you don't need 1 million partners to really grow your business. So it's a numbers game. And then eventually, so I tell people, when you're just getting going, 5-1, 5-1, do it every day. But eventually it's just talk to 1 person and then boom. It's just, at the beginning, you got to work it, and then you start to get in some momentum. Then all of a sudden it just really takes off.
Well, and then it gets really fun too, because then you're really building those relationships and connecting and sharing. And those partners you can come back to over and work with, not just come back to, but you're supporting each other continuously. So I just love this model. I think it's brilliant. And I think every business owner should be able to implement this some way, shape, or form to help them in their business. So this has been phenomenal. Do you have, and we're going to have, like I said, over in the blog, we're going to have the link over the JV Inside Circle, all the step-by-step process that Rich just went over, and the details that you can find out more about how to join his inner circle. So, Rich, any other last tips that you want to share for our listeners?
I could go all day. So
I know.
I'll do it with this. I think ultimately, everyone listening, you have to create 2 communities. One community is your audience, the people that could potentially be your clients and customers and pay you for all your coaching and products that you offer. So you want to build that community, number 1. And number 2, you want to build your community of colleagues, which is your partners. And I firmly believe that the success of your business is in direct proportion to your ability to create relationships. So you want to create a relationship with your community. You want to create a relationship with your colleagues, so that anytime you come up with a great idea, have a new product or program, you just go to them and say, look what I got. And they're all going to promote you. And it becomes pretty easy. So that's what I would leave you with. Besides, thank you for having me here.
Well, thank you so much, because this really does demystify. I mean, literally, your steps are people can listen to this and go out and have success. I unfortunately never knew this, how it actually worked, and had to learn the hard way. So you really have created the blueprint to take action. And so I just thank you so much for sharing so much today, and we can't wait to have you back in the future as well.
My pleasure. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
And thank you to everyone listening. Thank you.
And I hope you enjoyed that episode. I'd love to get your feedback here for the Lifestylepreneur podcast right in iTunes. Simply leave us a 5-star and a review letting us know what you like, who you're interested in hearing more from, and what topics you really want help with in your business that I can bring on those key experts to really fine tune and help you in your business and creating the lifestyle of your dreams. And I'll be giving shout outs, so make sure you put your name and your website address if you want me to share that with the community as well. And again, thanks for listening. I'm so excited that you found the Lifestylepreneur podcast, and I can't wait to connect with you and learn more about your business as we continue to grow this community. So again, have a great day, and I'll talk to you next week. Thank you for tuning in to the Lifestylepreneur podcast. Again, I'm Chris Gilbertson, and I'm committed to bringing you top training from leading lifestylepreneurs all over the world to help you break through and turn your dreams into your ideal lifestyle. And make sure to join us at www.lifestyleacademy.com to receive VIP training from specific guests I interview on the show so that you can really easily start to implement what you've learned from listening. I know we're all busy, and sometimes we don't have time to listen to the entire podcast or take notes because I'm always listening on the go. So I like to call it the Lifestyle Cliff Notes to creating your ideal business and make it really simple for you. So those will be sent via the email list. Plus, I also want to connect with you personally, and being on the Lifestyle Academy mailing list is where all the magic happens. We'll host VIP trainings once a month that we can't always bring out on the podcast with even more detailed information. And I also want to connect with you personally. I want to know what's going on in your business and what you need help with and who I can bring on to aid you in creating your ideal lifestyle. And so I'll be asking questions every once in a while that I want you to reply, and I reply back to you personally. So again, until next time, wishing you on your way to achieving all of your dreams. Talk to you soon.